Hello, Namaste, S.S.Chandhok. Good evening. Welcome back to the S.S.Chandhok Talk Show. We are here again with the next episode of S.S.Chandhok Talk Show, and we have very special guest today from Pan India. Without wasting any time, I'll introduce you to the very first eminent guest, that is Dr. Amrita Vora ma'am. She is a Director Education, GEMS Education, Gurugram. She doesn't need any introductions, but still we'll speak few words about her. With over 25 years of transformative work in education, ma'am is a passionate learner and educator currently serving as Director Education for GEMS Education India and Executive Principal for GEMS International School, Gurugram. A PhD in English Literature and a certified program leader from Cambridge Professional Development Qualification for Teachers and School Leaders, a recipient of the QSI Gate RISC Fellowship by O.P. Jindal and Southampton University. She has helped set up and led various schools as principal and school improvement advisor, while serving earlier as head of academic research and training, and later as the head of professional development and quality assurance, and also as an active member of the GEMS Global Education team. She has worked with institutions like Educom Solutions, Global Classroom, and Opportunity International, catering to over 100 franchisee and affiliated schools across India. She has traveled the country training teachers and school leaders from workshops for diet principles in Kerala to budget private schools owners in remote parts of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Uttar Pradesh, Telangana, West Bengal, and Haryana. She has continuously trying to improve the K-12 education quality across the spectrum of government-aided and unaided, low-budget, mid-market, and high-budget schools. With GEMS Education, she set up various greenfield projects, developed policy manuals and quality standard frameworks, provided continuous mentoring and support to school leadership team. Being a firm believer in joint practice development, she set up professional learning communities both offline and online in schools. Her earlier experience with higher education as a faculty for undergraduate and postgraduate programs in women's studies, literature, feminist literature criticism, soft skills, and business communication adds to her perspective. She has contributed various articles and research papers to the diverse range of professional and publications, and her personal blog, www.pendropsilence.in, is widely appreciated. She is also a Bharatanatyam dancer and also had a keen interest in dramatic arts and drama in education. Her key research interests are women and child psychology, pedagogy, assessment, inclusive education, teacher professional development, curriculum design, school improvement, quality insurance, and early childhood. Ma'am has reviewed various publications for eminent publishers like Oxford University Press and Macmillan Education. She has also been supporting the CBSE with research on embedding international standards, best practices in the assessment and pedagogy aligned with the NEP 2020. She is a member of the National Council of the Associations of Indian Principals. And again, ma'am is associated with so many associations on national and international level, and also have received so many awards that she might have kept it in two or three rooms. That might also be, getting less. Thank you, ma'am. Welcome. Welcome. And again, when I'm reading your profile, do you sleep or not? Are you working 24 into 7? I mean, so many things you have done in your life, so many places you have been, you have looked after 100 plus franchisee schools also. Ma'am, how do you work? Please tell us your way of working.
Thank you, Mr. Chandhok. I think all you should have said is that I am a teacher. One line profile is sufficient, I suppose. I think, at least for me here, that should have been fine. And that's who I am. And I think all teachers do much more than this.
That's your kindness, ma'am. That's your kindness. But the thing is that how do you handle all the schools which are under you?
I think it's about organizing. One of the key skills that we learn as teachers very soon, early on, is to get up early in the morning and then to organize our day. It's as basic as that. And we know that we can't really get late for a lesson. I mean, a child may get late, but we can't be as teachers, right? So we know that we got to be there and we have to show up and we have to know what we are going to teach. More than anything else, we got to know what we're going to talk about. So we have to be well prepared. So we have to show up, and it is not once in a while that somebody holds a session or we have to do something. It's every day, and maybe 4 or 5 times a day, whatever number of lessons we are teaching. So That is a skill that everybody who is a teacher just naturally has. It's about, as many of us were just now discussing, it's about actually recognizing the fact. And at Montessori, I am a little Montessori trained, so I end up going back to it over and again. We call the teacher a directress. So we say that learning is a certain environment. So it's an environment. So instead of calling it a classroom, we call it an environment. And in that environment, the teacher is the directress, and or the director, whatever you want to call it. And the children are actually the learners who plan everything, who go about the way they would like to. And when our job is only to facilitate and co-learn, it's very different. And I think that's what we're all good at here.
Ma'am, please tell us about pin drop silence.
Okay. Pindropsilence.in started as an educator, where I felt that I think as educators, we all need to be able to look at everyday experiences that we go through in school, or maybe as mothers. I also felt this as a mother, that we need to be able to look at all of them as a child. How does a child look at all of these? So if you read through any of the articles, they are from a child's point of view. And so whatever is happening, you're talking about X and Y, and you're talking about big things and so on. But what am I going through as a child? What am I feeling maybe in that mathematics lesson? What am I feeling when the teacher said, okay, pin drop silence, everybody finish your work? What am I really feeling, and why am I reacting or behaving the way I am? So if we really look at things from that point of view, I think that's what is what being a teacher is all about, and actually parenting is also all about. So therefore, the pin drop silence has largely been appreciated by a lot of parents and by all educators in general, because there's something that everybody sort of empathizes with. People have been asking me to convert it into a book, and hopefully someday I will, time permitting. Right now it doesn't. So let's hope it does soon.
It
Even
will
my
be, ma'am.
PhD
It
thesis is
will for
still like
sure.
out there.
It will
So
for sure, ma'am. So we can say that it's a child-oriented education now. It's not a teacher-oriented. You have to get down to the level of the child, then only you'll be able to give him or her. That is for sure, ma'am. Thank
yeah.
you so much, ma'am. You have come over here. Thank you. Next, we have Hema Kalakoti, ma'am. She's the principal of APS Academy, Lucknow. She's a treasurer of CBSE Sahodaya Complex, Lucknow chapter. She is an MA, double MA. She's MA in English. She's MA in psychology also. She has done a few courses like Effective and Strategic Leadership in School from IIM Lucknow, Tourism Certificate from UP Tourism. She has performed many duties as Center Superintendent, Observer, Flying Squad. She has been a member of a CBSE Inspection Committee for Appellation, Monitoring and Mentoring of CC in CBSE schools, has been part of Sarv Shiksha Abhiyan. She has been doing other as well as CBSE teachers training offline since 2009 that we had seen. Online teachers training since April 2020, trainer of CBSE school principal pedagogical leadership training, done review of CBSE training content, that is topic is life skills and gender sensitivity, conducted several education and sports meet at regional and national level, has been part of many panel discussions, and she has moderated many sessions at national and international levels. She has written several articles for magazines, newspaper, and again, she is associated with many associations on national and international level, as well as got awards on national and international levels. Thank you so much, ma'am, for coming. You are very humble, and I like to know, how do you get that energy? How do you get energy that you are able to work throughout the day? Since morning, I have seen today and yesterday also, I am not well, I'm not able to join properly. I had joined, but you are so fresh at in the morning also, and the very glowing faces right now at 5 to 15 also. Please tell about the secret about this.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. It is my passion, and because of that, maybe, and all the things which I do, it is the positive energy which I get from the people whom I am interacting, and this is what I think is the reason. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Pleasure is mine, ma'am.
That's all.
So ma'am, basically you're from Lucknow.
Yeah, I belong to Uttarakhand, Kumaon. I'm a Kumaoni, and then now for last 20 years we are here in Lucknow.
Right, ma'am. So where did you started? From which school did you started here in Lucknow?
My parents, my father was in army, and so my mother was teacher, and I have been to many places as he was in transferable job. So my schooling is from KVs and army schools, and if I start my primary is from West Bengal, Siliguri, and I did my 10th from Punjab and 12th from MP. So this way, and my college from Lucknow.
So ultimately, you have started now in Lucknow. Otherwise, you might have went to other places also.
Yes,
So you get that energy from your parents only, ma'am, because your father was in the army. So that,
yes.
that gets into your blood. That's a sort of, being so active. Welcome, ma'am, and thank you so much for coming. Next,
Thank
we
you.
have Jyoti Dahiya, ma'am. She is the principal of DAV Public School, Faridabad. Ma'am is a proficient, conscientious, and compassionate with a sanguine disposition and charmistic personality with open-mindedness. She is well equipped in the skills like excellent communication skills, critical thinking, rapid decision making, problem solving, strong interpersonal skills. She started her career with Alwar Public School, Alwar, Rajasthan in 1990 as PGT Bio and then as an head of department there. She later on worked as PGT Bio at DAV Public School, Sector 37, and subsequently got promoted to Senior Coordinator, Science. And presently, she is working as a Mitsubishi principal at DAV Public School, NH3, Faridabad since 2010. She possesses the excellent ability to motivate others, coupled with the ability to communicate comfortably at all levels, be it student or staff, therefore ensuring excellent working environment for all members. She is educationally enlightened, technologically savvy, and opens the pedagogical changes to create a positive and challenging learned environment. She has a dynamic and versatile personality and is a great source of energy to the people around her. In her 30 plus years of experience in the field of education, ma'am has always demonstrated energy, creativity, and talent and have an eye for innovative in whatever she undertakes because of her exceptionally remarkable academic and professional qualification. She has done MBA, that is from Human Resource at Himalayan University, Bachelor's of Education from Annamalai University, Masters of Science from Botany, Rajasthan University, Bachelor's of Science Honors from University of Rajasthan. She has written several articles for widely read educational magazines like Teachers brought out by Australian Council for Educational Research. She also wrote an article on vocational education for P Square. And again, ma'am is associated with so many associations on national and international levels. She has got so many awards, like 3 to 4 pages. I have the list of the awards ma'am, Jyoti ma'am has got. Welcome, Jyoti ma'am. We are thankful that you are over here.
Thank you so
Please,
much, sir.
it's our pleasure you are here again on our show. Please let us know about your educational background as well as your upbringing like this.
Thank you so much for having me here. And I'm very delighted to see all other alumni over here. And rightly stated by Amrita ma'am that a teacher is the best description of any principal. Uh, Basically, I came in this profession by choice because I was always fascinated by my own teachers. And in class third, my English teacher was Vora ma'am. And I was really fascinated by the way she used to, enact stories and chapters in the class. So that made me fall in love with her. Her persona as such. I started, admiring her. And my mom also, she has been an educator and she has been in a government job and widely admired by people. And, I never came to know that how it came in my, it became a part of my personality that I have to be an educator. And the best advantage, which I feel, that if you wish to be young, you want to be, the best of version of yourself, be an educator, be a teacher, be a guide, be the right kind of light to the children who are going to be our future society. So this is how I came, and company of like-minded people pushed me more. And today I'm here with all of you and learning from you. So this is how the journey has been so fruitful, very satisfying, and I hope that it continues to be the same. Thank you so much, Chandok sir. It's a delight to be here.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your welcome. You are so down to earth that you speak so kind words about us also. Because we are teachers, we are humble. The biggest asset of a teacher is humbleness. That is what we have. Thank you, ma'am. Next, we have Vibha Khosla, ma'am. She is the principal of Shri Ram Global School, Delhi West. Ma'am is a prestigious educationist with a preeminent career of more than 23 years, being adept at education planning, administration, and neurotic approach to education. She has done her master's in English with a B.Ed. She has been a recipient of Dr. Radhakrishnan Memorial Award twice, Savitri Bhai Phule Innovation Principal Award. Having adapted knowledge and experience of dealing with children, she fosters the acquaintance skills to help groom young kids into leaders of tomorrow through the use of unconventional teaching strategies integrated with a holistic approach aimed to encompass all areas for healthy intellectual development. She has a knack for planning, development, and execution of pondering activities, both academic and extracurricular, that are designed to further enhance the comprehensive development of children. Her specializations also include training of teachers, coordinators, and school heads so as to help spread the academic dynamism and ingrain the passion for innovative teaching in them. She is a certified CBSE master trainer imparting trainings. Her outstanding experience and power in dealing with children, parents, and her staff with ease has made a dent in the education industry by actively introducing contemporary ways of teaching, learning, management, and student development. Her belief in the happiness curriculum enhances the positive work environment. Welcome, Vibha ma'am. We are happy again to see you again over here on our show. And thank you, you spared your time. Ma'am, you are a CBSE master trainer also, and you are in the CBSE as a resource person. I had also been seeing your sessions also. So, nice way you are giving the sessions because I'm also in the same group. I had also been seeing. So, what energy, I mean, what type of feeling you have when you're giving these sessions or when you're working with your teachers or working with your children?
Chandhok sir, first of all, thank you so much for this opportunity, and a very good evening to everyone. See, when you like something and you're passionate about it, you never feel tired. There is a surge of energy which is always there. Rather, when you don't have work to do, that's the time you feel that you know what to do. So, when you love something you do, then energy is something that comes naturally. So that's how it is.
There's a saying na, do a job you love and you will never have to work a day in life. So that
Absolutely.
is because by choice, when you are becoming a teacher by choice, then only you love it. Some people say na kuch nahi bane to teacher ban gaye. So there they fail, they don't, are able to progress. They always keep it as a burden. We have to work so much, we have to so much. When you are enjoying it, you are making it as a passion. You will never, will get rid of it, or you will like it to do it again and again. 24 into 7.
Absolutely. As Jyoti ma'am said, see, children are like energy pills. They give you so much of energy that, it's like day after day that you want to be there. And it's a gift that comes. Probably it's the energy that comes from them.
And ma'am, we were discussing also that students, they don't respect the teachers and all that thing is not, it is still there, ma'am. Children have become very smart now. I had studied in missionary schools, ICSE schools, because it was a trend that if you want your English to be good, you should be in ICSE schools. And also CBSE trend wasn't there much at that time. So we had the fear. It was not actually the respect for the teachers. It was the fear that we'll get a peace of mind from the teachers. I was studying in a boys' school, so St. Aloysius School, high school. So it was a fear that we'll get a peace of mind if we'll not respect the teachers or do something wrong. But here the children are very smart. When the technology came into being, they become more smarter. The other day we was discussing that if the teacher has to become very smart, if they want to handle these smart students. So that is very, very essential. Tell you an incident when my son was in grade 4. So his final exams were coming up, and his mom told that don't go to school today, tomorrow, because you can do your revision work is going on in school. You can learn over at home. He's very good at studies. So he said, I'll see my timetable. So when I was looking at his timetable, so maths, it came to maths. So he said, Papa, you won't be able to teach me maths as my teacher does, stepwise. I was very happy. When it came to Hindi, he said, oh, leave it. We play with her. I was astonished when he said, we play with her. हम खेलते हैं इससे. A grade 4 child saying at that time, around 4 5 years back, telling we play. So that means whatever the strict the teacher is inside the class, but if the teacher is not given to the child will not respect. We are teaching the children from so many years. I'm having experience of 25 plus years in my career. Wherever my children see me, they run to me and they just touch my feet and they say, hello sir, how are you? They respect. You have to earn respect. We say to the teachers, even all of us, we say to teachers, you don't get respect. You have to earn respect. That is for sure. And of course, they have become smarter now. If you are not teaching well, they'll go to the YouTube. So better the teachers have to be updated regarding that. Thank you so much, ma'am, Vibha ma'am. Next, we have Aarti Jain ma'am. She is the principal of Lakshya International School, Rajasthan. Ma'am is highly skilled and humorous freelancer trainer and has provided training to teachers, students, parents at various schools and colleges. As an educationalist for several years, now looking to join as organization's resource person for training, has exceptional presentation and training program design abilities. She has a master's degree in human resource management and English literature and a strong understanding of incorporating humor and media into training to make it more engaging and meaningful. She makes her skills like exceptional presentation skills, good organizational and time management abilities, top-notch sense of humor and loves helping people, has terrific interpersonal skills and engaging personality, understands how to identify training needs, designs great training programs, and effectively delivers them. Good understanding with all types of media, including PowerPoint, video, and music used to bring home the desired training messages. Undertakes how to grab attention so people retain their more information. She has a work experience as in since 1998, working in the capacity of school principal since 2006. Conducted training sessions at various schools affiliated to different boards for teachers, students, and parents. She has also conducted training on art of happy living for different clubs and organizations also. And at the very same time, ma'am has done so many management programs also. She has trained people at different levels. She's associated on national and international level, as well as she has got so many awards. Welcome, Aarti ma'am. And we will like to know that you are as a principal from 2006. Is this the same school or have you changed?
No, I have changed the school. First of all, good evening and namaste to all of you. And it's really an honor to be among all of you. It's like meeting people like you. It's really an honor. My journey, like they said, by choice or by chance, my journey started by chance. I went for my son to get admitted to this school, and I was offered the job as a teacher, and I took it just so that I can be with my son. But since then, since 98, when I started my journey, it has been like it has become my passion. And now it's like I cannot live, like since 2 years when the students are not coming to the school, it's been all loneliness, and it's a big void which cannot be, filled. So that is what, so by choice, I wasn't, by chance I was. But again, I would say that after all these years of working, since it's been 23 years again, it's been a journey of learning, and every day still I'm a learner. I believe before I teach, I learn, and I am learning from everything, even the smallest of the thing which a student does. The best part about being a student, or what you can learn from student, is they forgive very easily. One minute you are scolding them, and the next minute they come and say sorry, they hug you, they say we love you, mom, and they just simply forget everything. And that is the best part about being a teacher, I believe. And this is what I do every day morning when I get up. The first thing which I do is I thank God that he chose me to be a teacher. So that's what my journey started. And for first 14 years I worked in the same school, and then I was promoted to be a principal in the same school. Later on I kept changing, and now it's my 6th or 7th school. So, but it's really an honor to be with all of you. Thank you so much.
That's great, ma'am. And you came in here as you came into education by chance.
Yes, sir.
But how
By
did it
chance.
came into your mind that I should go for trainings also? How that passion came into you?
Yeah, that's what it started with the learning process with the students. And then when I started learning, I could feel that there is a lot of gap between teacher and student, and even among the teachers there was a lot of gap. And there was a lot of miscommunication, misunderstandings, the children were neglected, all those things were there. This made me think, and I started my I have also a keen interest in child psychology. So I started reading, and then later on, I did my master's in psychology. And I've also done a fellowship course with NHCA in psychology again and behavior therapy. So all these things made me think that if I could, whatever I have, if I could even be able to transform a single life, it would be a big thing for me. And I have been doing it for all these years. When a child comes and says, or a parent come and says, thank you ma'am, it really was, you shaped me into what I am, I feel I'm blessed. I feel, yes, I could, it was worth it. So that's what.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and welcome.
Yeah.
Next, we have Mr. Jaswinder Singh. He's the founder and CEO of Wordsworth Lab. Sir is ex-founder director of Decimate, which is now a part of Reliance Group Company. MD and CEO of Wordsworth English Language System, which we'll talk about. He has 32 years of experience in the field of education, successfully run 2 edtech companies. He has worked as a consultant to the government of Bahrain through UNESCO, advised the government as the use of ICT in education, passionate edtech leader. Wordsworth is used by over 1 million learners annually through more than 3,000 schools and colleges. Launched the world's first Sanskrit language lab, also developed language lab for Hindi. He is based out in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. We welcome you, Jaswinder sir.
Thank you,
And
sir.
we like to know about your company, where you were this as a director, and how did it came into your mind to open this Wordsworth Lab?
Okay, so you're talking about my previous stint with DesignMate. The name of the company is DesignMate. So Amrita ma'am, when you said that you were with Educom, the content that Educom used to use was actually designed by us. So I was one of the 2 founder directors, and we developed this software. And the beauty of that company was that 90% of staff, they were disabled. 90%. We had 206 or something, and 180 plus the staff members were all disabled. They were either blind, they were deaf, they were mute, they were without one or the other limbs, and things like that. So Dr. Abdul Kalam had, awarded us with the kind of work that we've done, and that is currently being used by 13 countries. Around 15 years back, I sold my stake to, start Wordsworth. Since I sold that company of mine, my stake, morally, I was not allowed to get into math and science. So I thought what to do. And that's the time, when our current Prime Minister, Honorable Modi sir, he was that time the Chief Minister of Gujarat. And he, since we were training, I started with an IT training company. So he picked us up and said that you have to train 100,000 people in English. Language in Gujarat, even today, is not that good, but that time it was bad, real bad. So, and the major thing he said that, I will give you infrastructure, I'll give you students, I'll give you money, you need to train all of them. But there was a caveat. He said one important thing: if you set up one training center in urban Gujarat, you have to set 2 training centers in rural Gujarat. We were very happy, such a big project and all that. So what to do? But then the major challenge was when we went to rural Gujarat, we were not able to get the right kind of teachers. And that's where we thought, okay, let's develop some software that will help people who are not good teachers to deliver better. And that's how the whole idea is. And then we slowly thought, why not go to schools? Because language should actually be developed during the schooling, not when you graduate or when you're in the college. So that's where we started. So we were the first company to start working with language teaching in schools, and that's how we did it. And today we are there with around close to 3,000 schools in India. That is, again, we've gone on to Malaysia, to Singapore, to Dubai, and also Sri Lanka. So that's the spread that we have.
That's great, sir. And you had a long way journey.
32 years, yes.
32 years, that a long way. And Modi sir also had been chief minister that time, and now the Prime Minister of India now. Prime Minister of India now. I'm so sorry, I'm not well. That's why a little bit of, sorry. That's great, sir. Welcome, sir. Jaswinder, sir.
Thank you, sir.
On our request, you have come over here to speak about your language lab and your experience with the language learning. We'll come up to the next round of the show. We'll come up to Amrita ma'am, and we'd like to know the views. I can't say it questions. I'd like to know the views of the guests who have come over here. The first question, the first view will be of Amrita ma'am. Amrita ma'am, we know that as we said, that language learning is as important as breathing. What are your views regarding the importance of language learning?
Well, before I begin my answer, thank you, Mr. Chandhok. I have to personally congratulate Mr. Jaswinder because he just mentioned about this organization, and I personally, I'm privileged to have visited and met all those people, and it was absolutely commendable. And yes, the modules created that point in time by this entity were absolutely amazing. I think most of the schools that I set up, I used quite a bit of it. So thank you to you, sir. I'm just taking this opportunity. Now, quickly moving on to the question and my views on language. Well, to begin with, I think language is what makes us who we are, makes us human. Language is, I think, the one thing that is very, very different between any other species and human beings. Imagine, is there thinking without language? And I was recently just rereading 1984 because we were working on utopian and dystopian fiction with children. And one of the things that in this dystopia, when this government is trying to create, is that they create a thought police. And the biggest weapon that they use is to disrupt language. They change language into something that they create a whole new language called Newspeak, so that they're able to finish all other languages, and they really, really reduce the vocabulary so that people stop thinking. That's the idea. Language is really at the heart of thought, of debate, of perspectives. Imagine us being in this session without language. Yes, there are various other forms of language other than languages which purely use words. I mean, there can be sign language, there can be other languages, but then they also depend on a translation of words into some or the other symbolic format. There is a language to art, there is a language to dance, to music, to theater. None of our world is really possible without language. So come to think of it, that is how critical language is. And language is also the custodian pretty much of culture and heritage. I mean, we used to have oral traditions. Also, if no language were there, there would be really no learning. There would be really no education. We are into education. It began with oral transition, oral storytelling, and so on. So oral, and then the discovery of writing, and then print. Eventually, we moved on to other formats, and here we are today. But language is at the heart of everything else. It's also communication. We can communicate, but imagine if we are communicating, but we're not able to express our own thoughts and ideas, there would be very limited kind of communication also. And with communication, there are relationships. There is one thing which is the most important in any classroom, be it virtual or be it in person or hybrid or whatever, the relationship between the teacher and the student. That's the beginning of it, and that's what has the most important impact. You know, whatever strategy you may use, pedagogical changes, this, that, and sundry, student-centric, teacher-centric, everything, technology, no technology, anything works only when the teacher and child are very well connected, and there is a sense of, yeah, I want to learn. Oh, and I really want this child to learn. Both work together. So that relationship of care and mutual respect is really at the heart of it. And that develops only thanks to language. So that's how critical language really is to our world. Now, the NEP, of course, puts in a lot of emphasis on language, and therefore the Languages of India project. Now, when we look at India, we have our culture, a lot of it already forgotten, unfortunately so. And the only way to maybe revive it again is to really rebuild this very critical understanding of language and various languages and the nuances of these various languages, how they interact with each other, how there are so many similarities between various languages of India, and how and what kind of differences and what kind of cultural concepts are they really talking about. The nuances can be very, very distinguished. For instance, I mean, Hema ma'am was sharing that she's from Kumaon. And in Kumaoni, I mean, I'm also connected with Uttaranchal a bit. So in Kumaoni, if we say वो अपनी सी है, तो उसका मतलब होता ये नहीं है कि वो somebody is like us only, as we would normally understand in Hindi. It means that person is so हाँ okay है, no big deal. Okay. So there is a huge difference, and these little nuances actually share so much that about a culture. And naturally, if you're speaking in somebody's local language, there is therefore a sense of very, very special connection, right? So that is the kind of role that it is emotionally with us. It is not just a way of communicating. It defines us in multiple ways. Eventually, it also it does create that sense of empathy, compassion that we need. And it is the only way that helps us think. So I think language has to be. And who are we today? I mean, information is all over the place. Children can learn, But our job is to to be maybe the activists of thought today. There is so much that children really need to know what to do with that information. There's an infodemic playing out, quite literally. What to do with all that information? A lot of it is misinformation. A lot of it is disinformation. There's again a difference between those. So how to figure out what's actually true, and then your truth and my truth can be very different. There is no real only one truth. And so what really should we do with all that are we coming to know, or we are discovering, or we are finding out? So that again is something that only critical inquiry and curiosity again is developed in a human child with language. So children are born with it to a great extent. Unfortunately, because of the industrial revolution, you call it, or whatever, in our education system, we've created a process of making them feel constricted and not letting them or making them forget their whole natural sense of bouncing back. I mean, all children learn to walk. They bounce back. They naturally know it. They fall endlessly, but they bounce back. But then they know how to fail forward. But we later tell them, okay, failure is bad. Oh, big deal. So they stop trying. They stop thinking. That is what we need to cut it out. And they also similarly learn to speak. They watch, they observe, they learn to speak. The first language that the child develops like that. And they're thinking, it's the language of thought. They're thinking in that language. They may learn more and start thinking more in different languages. But the thing is that language is what also is the beginning of curiosity, is the beginning of learning of any sort. So, and a beginning of questioning. So that is something that has to be central to anything we do as educators. So that's my view.
That's great, ma'am. That's great. You have an ocean of knowledge, and this is a small drop you have dropped into us on your views regarding the importance of language learning. And we can see that you can speak for around 2-3 hours more about this, because when you are passionate about something, about education or something, you can talk throughout the day about that. That's your experience, ma'am. You have moved to so many places. You have seen with so many cultures that is language everywhere. They say that after every 100 kilometers, the language, the eating habits as well as dressing habit, they change. And you have moved to so many places, and you had looked after the schools which had been in the cities also, as well as the remote areas and urban areas also. You might have found the difference, and that experience is what you are sharing here right now. That this is what about the show is, that we are calling eminent guests like you all that who do share your views and your experience. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. We'll come up to Hema ma'am. Hema ma'am, we'll also like to know about your experience or your knowledge about the importance of language learning. What do you say?
Yes, I agree with what ma'am said. this language is a communication tool, and it deepens our cultural connections, and it is a way to express ourselves. And this way, if we know the language, then it is helping us to express our thoughts. As I said, it deepens the connection with other culture. It is, yes, developing the curiosity. And if we are connected, then only, yes, the communication is there. And there are forms of communication, as ma'am said: verbal, non-verbal, text. So how we express our thoughts, this is what uh, is now in NEP also. More focus is on multilingualism in the primary section, and that is why we are trying to promote the language. And if it is a local language, then it is the connections are more, then the understanding, learning is in a easier way. So this is what I believe, that yes, this helps us to preserve our culture, to get the advancement in other sectors also, other things also. Like if the child is learning new languages, not only his or her local language, but if there is learning in other languages also, then it helps them in advancement in their careers also are seen. So this is I think the importance of language is there, especially when we want to express our thoughts, ideas, when we want to share something, then language has importance.
That's great, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your views. Next, we'll come to Jyoti Daya, ma'am. Ma'am, we say that language learning improves or enhances certain qualities or skills of a child. Do you feel that it improves? Please discuss few of them.
Absolutely right, sir. First of all, thanks to Amrita ma'am and Heba ma'am. They've started such a very, very nice and content-filled conversation. Undoubtedly, when we talk about language, I mean, today we are discussing about language here, so I think the more emphasis is on English language, or when we are saying our mother tongue as per NEP. But for any language, it is the more we know about the language, the in depth we go, I think it helps every student to enhance their capabilities uh, in academics, how they deal their subjects, what is their approach towards looking at the contents of the subject. So when a person is well versed with the language, unknowingly or knowingly develops a knack towards a problem solving approach, the way they think to solve any issue, any problem, they are able to critically analyze that. One simple example I would like to give over here. Let us talk about a child who's in kindergarten and has got working parents. So the parents decide to keep a nanny to that child. So maybe in Indian scenario, let us talk about that the nanny is a Bengali. And both parents, they communicate with the child in their own different languages, and English becomes the main. So father is communicating in English, mother is communicating in a mother tongue. Say, for example, it could be Hindi, and nanny is communicating in Bengali. This is my personal observation. I've seen it myself, that when the child is turning towards nanny, the child is so fluent in Bengali, the child is able to express, child is able to analyze, child is able to assess the thoughts of his nanny. Is she all right? This work has been done nicely, or the food is good. The child communicates in Bengali beautifully. When the child is talking to his mother, Hindi, again, the choice of words which are being used over here are Hindi. And when the child is talking to his father, it is English. So, what I'm trying to say over here is that a child has got a beautiful quality of adaptability, that the child is able to communicate. The child is able to communicate at all different uh, levels and in different ways. So the child becomes multilingual without knowing it. The child has started understanding that what yes means in English and ha means in Hindi, or hobe means in Bengali, right? So, language helps you to develop certain skills, which when you grow up, you give a name to it: problem solving, critical thinking. All right. So, when in academics, when we come, we give these names, but the child doesn't know about it. But child's personality acquires these skills and makes that individual child a better student, a better learner. In today's scenario, CBSE, let's talk about class 10th and 12th now. When we talk about senior classes, 9, 10th, 11th, 12th, the question paper pattern becomes a very, very important area of concern. And when we are talking about these areas, there are HOTS, they are now competency-based questions. So what anyone who is not well equipped with the language will not be able to solve these competency-based questions or HOTS, because the child needs to have a very good command over the language, medium in whichever the child is studying. And we know it very clearly that India is one of the largest English speaking country in the world. So English by default has become our mother tongue, though it should not have, but it has become. So what is happening over there? More vocabulary you have in this language, better will be the outcome in your academic record also. The questions are given in such a manner in psychology also, even in accountancy, business studies, even in science. These situational questions are being given. And if a child doesn't know how to think critically, the child will not be able to answer that question. The kind of words which are being used, it's very important for a child to have very good vocabulary. A child needs to learn to understand that hello can have 100 different meanings. The way it is spoken, the way it is written, and the kind of commas and full stops and exclamation marks are being used. So definitely, language is one of the most beautiful tool, equipment, sword, call it by any name, with every individual, be it a student or a professional like us, to make us successful and to develop those skills which are required by us at our level. Like for a child, it will be a little different. For us, it is a little different. For a businessman, it's going to be on a different platform. So undoubtedly, more you get deeper into the language, you will come out of that swimming high as a more mature, beautiful, well-equipped person.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Thank you so much. Absolutely right. Because NEP also says from rote learning to critical thinking, and language is the base of that. If language is not clear, then always the students will have problems. For that, the teachers have to become more smarter. Thank you so much, Jyoti ma'am. Thank you so much. Next, we'll come to Vibha ma'am. Vibha ma'am, we will also like to know your views on the same topic, and how does language learning enhances multiple skills?
Okay, so I love the flow which has been going on, right, from Amrita ma'am to Hema ma'am and Jyoti ma'am, and they've actually given in a lot of substance. So I would say that learning of language and the multiple skills that we're talking about, it's both of them. It goes vice versa. Like it's both of them go interrelated. So when we're talking about language development and critical things or thinking or curiosity or problem solving, all these are going hand in hand because language is the medium. So what's happening in the schools is that we're defining the language. It's an English period, it's an Hindi period, it's a French period or German period or Sanskrit. But also another thing added by Jyoti ma'am, that English by default has become our mother tongue. This has become our language in which we are communicating with each one of us. And if we are learning mathematics or we are learning science or we are learning social science, but the medium of going ahead and writing is coming up in this language. So when we say problem solving or we say creative skills or curiosity, so how are we expressing it? Everything is being expressed with the language. If we are predicting something and I'm not able to weave my words flawlessly, I am not able to speak coherently, then I am not able to express myself and I may not be able to come up to the level that is desired. So language ultimately is actually the most important thing which is required for all the skills. So, most of the things have been said, but yes, that's what I wanted to add on and, just say that it's very, very important that language should not be given any kind of boundaries or arena. It should be flowing everywhere. So when we say that we are speaking, along with listening, along with reading, along with writing, if we have to imbibe a language, we should also be thinking in that language. Once we start thinking in that language, then, that language becomes a part and parcel of us. And that's where we succeed. So that's
Absolutely,
what my
absolutely
take
right,
is.
ma'am. You're absolutely right, ma'am. Because language, whichever subject we are talking about, we are talking about English, we are talking about Hindi, we are talking about Sanskrit, we are talking about anything. Language is the basis of all of them. That is for sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Then we'll come to Aarti Jain, ma'am. Aarti, ma'am, we see that during these 2 years at least, the children have become techno savvy and they don't want to pick up their books. They want the gadgets to work, to learn. So, do you feel that a combination of technology makes language learning quite easy and perfect?
Thank you for the question, Chandok sir. Firstly, I would really like to thank all the eminent teachers here who have been able to add so much to me. When you say that has technology helped, I would just ask all these people who are sitting here. When we go back to our days, when we used to study language, for every word that we were stuck, we used to have a dictionary and we used to open it and we used to find the word and we used to, and now it has become so simple. The moment you are stuck at a word, all you have to do is search on the Google, or if you're reading a Kindle, you just need to, hard press it and you get the meaning and everything. There are so many synonyms. Even while writing, when you're writing, what you find is that you are writing and you need to add a new word. You just have to, right click and you get all the synonyms. So definitely technology has added where language learning and expressing is concerned. I feel there are so many aspects to it. Like firstly, if I talk about, like I said, dictionary, so digitalization of the language, everything is digitalized. So things have become very easy. I mean, you carry not only one, you carry 2, 3, 4 dictionaries along with you in your mobile, in a small gadget like your mobile. So it has definitely become easy for anyone to use it. Next thing is, when you talk about again technology, technology has enabled, earlier when you used to read a book, we had to carry that book with us. Now it has become so simple. Either you carry it in your mobile phone, in your Kindle, or any other device. And not only that, furthermore, if you look at it, you have Audible, you have audiobooks. So if you don't feel like reading, all you have to do is, while walking, while cycling, you just put in your earplugs and you just listen to a book. So definitely that is another way of learning. Today morning only I was talking in a book reading program, and it was there it was suggested that to enhance, like especially the kind of the place where we live in, it's a rural area, it's a more or less a tribal area, right? So most of the students who come to us are first generation learners, and even the teachers are not so good. So now what happens, they are also not so well versed in language. So it becomes very easy if you provide a language lab or a place thing, something like that, where the students can learn on their own at their own pace. the hesitation which the students have because of classroom teaching, or they are not able to speak in, because if there is some child who's speaking very well, and then there are children who are not able to get that pace. So this all these technology equipments, they are a big help to these students. Plus again, if I talk about Hindi, if in an English medium school Hindi becomes a taboo, they don't want to learn Hindi. And similarly, English is also language are, when the students go in senior school, languages are treated like, oh, it's an English paper or a Hindi paper. So to have a better command on these languages, I believe there are so many other technology, there are so many gaming apps. So and then they also socially connect to their friends. They have games where two friends are connected digitally, and then they talk and they play a game. This way they are enhancing their vocabulary. So I believe technology has definitely 101% added to language learning. Earlier, when you had to learn another language, they would have suggested, if you want to learn Chinese, go to China. If you want to learn French, go to France. Now it's become so easy. All you have to do is download an app and start learning a language. If you are really a learner, all you have to do is download an app. So that's something I believe technology has given to. It's been a bliss for all of us. If and they say, like ma'am said, that children have become multilingual. Yes, they become multilingual, and they say that the more languages you know, your left brain starts, it gets activated, right? So even at this age, if I want to learn a new language, it's become very easy for me that I can just download an app and I start learning. So definitely, thanks to technology, that language learning has become easy. That's my view. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. You're absolutely right. Next, we'll come to Jaswinder sir. Jaswinder sir, you have heard from all the eminent guests about the language, importance of language learning. How does your language lab helps the students as well as the teachers for the language, perfect language learning? It's not about language learning. It's about the perfect language learning. Sir, you're muted.
Thank you, Chandhok sir, and very happy to hear from all the principals, head of schools about about language, since language for me is a profession. But let me tell you one thing. Answering a lot of questions is like last when Aarti ma'am said that people say, oh, it's just a language period. Well, let me tell you, I am a electronics graduate. I was a coder. I used to teach on behalf of Microsoft before I started my business. But look, language got me where I am. And today we claim to be the largest language training company in India. We're training more than 200,000 people every year. We are training them. So language, people have to understand there's a lot to a language, right? So if I start with what Amrita ma'am said, language makes us from a homo sapien to a human, right, Amrita ma'am? So, language is what created us, differentiated us from animals. That's the first thing. So that's one thing when we talk about language is so very important. Going on to next, Hema ma'am and Jyoti ma'am, both of them talked about multilingualism. That's great. We are talking about NEP 2020, where it says the 3-language formula. But let's understand that is not difficult, because a child by the age of 8 can acquire up to 5 languages. That's no big deal. And rightly said that if you know another language, you know somebody's culture even more. And today's world needs that bridge between cultures. If you want to kill a country, kill the language. You want to love somebody, know their language. So Jyoti ma'am, you did talk about Bengali. So I would say Kemonache, Kubbalo, right? So what we do is getting more and more language, and that makes us good humans. If I value somebody's language, I value that person's culture, and I value that person. So if that is brought in, I'm sure students will come out of saying, oh, ye to Hindi period hai, ya to Sanskrit period. That's one thing. One more thing that we're talking about is, when they say that when students or when an individual speaks 3 or more languages, right? Rightly said by Aarti ma'am, that the brain works better. Imagine you got 3 languages and you make one sentence using all the 3 languages. Your brain has to work better. So that's a very important thing when we talk about this. So what we have done, we've done around 50,000 man hours of research in developing what we've done. We started working with just one school around 15 years back. And over the years, we've realized that language is nothing but environment. Technology can bring in that environment. You can't create n number of different environments. So if you create an environment which is conducive for a certain language, the child will automatically acquire that language. There is no formula. हम सब हिंदी में बात करते हैं, लेकिन हमें हिंदी का व्याकरण कितने लोगों को आता है? This is not a question, but this is a question asking my own self. You don't need to know those formulas and those grammar rules. So that's what we say is, so thematic learning, contextual learning, situation-based learning is what we need to work on. So what we've done is, in our product, we've actually involved 120 different themes for students at the early age to acquire that language. Because first, the child has to love that language. If you love a language, you're doing well. In fact, this takes me back to, what initially I think Jyoti ma'am talked about, or somebody talked about, is, if you love something, you will always do it naturally. So what we need to do is we need to get students to love a language. And how do you do that? By making it very simple. And you can, give them on a platter, here, take this language, by using it. So the whole idea of developing a language lab is not using technology. It is using technology to give that on a platter to a child. Here, take it easy. It's easy. You can use it whenever you want, anytime, anywhere, on any device. The child wants to acquire language skill maybe 8 o'clock in the evening, but the school shuts down at 4 o'clock. That should not take him away from a language. So what we've done is we've got this entire cloud-based solution where they can access it anytime, from anywhere, and even using a mobile phone. Because this today is the strongest device that a person could have brought in. This is a revolution, especially for education. Imagine if the phones were not there, internet was not there, in these 2 years, what would have happened to our kids? So it is something. So what we've done is we've actually got the learning of our last 15 years of working with so many schools, so many kids, in what should actually be done so that language learning can become an interesting part. The whole part is putting all our experience into a coded form, into situations, into videos. That is there. Second, for language acquisition, you need to do two things: imitation and repetition, right? So you make them listen to something which is proper and then make them practice in number of times. That is how you acquire. Third, reading. I think Aarti ma'am, you were talking about reading. Reading is so important. NEP 2020 talks about research-based learning. How do you do research when you don't read? Okay, and we have library books. They go home, they come back, the kids are not reading. So what we did was we created 150 books, wrote them according to the lexical levels of different standards, and then we've given them in a digital form. So what we do is we first make the child listen to it with the correct pronunciation, the correct pace, and the correct intonation and modulation, so that the child, when he reads it, it gets recorded, so they actually can listen to their own and then redo it. So what technology does is nothing. It is what a teacher would do, but the teacher is there with the child all throughout. The teacher is with each and every child. So technology is just a tool to do what a teacher would have done. See, because when you and I studied, we didn't have this technology, but we still acquired. But now what we're doing is we are making this available to everybody and at each and every corner. If Aarti ma'am, you are in the rural or the tribal sector, this can still, the best of teachers in the form of technology can be taken. And when teachers use them, they actually become better. So this entire program, we've used a blended teaching methodology, where there's a component that the teacher uses, because language is not something that you can acquire in isolation. Never will you be able to acquire language in isolation. It has to be communicated. So what it does, the teacher uses a part to deliver, to explain. So they have got ready-made material to do it. And the student, you say you've taken a child from A to B, then the practice session is revolving around A to B, so that the concepts get clear. And whatever the child does, the teacher gets to know, even when the teacher is not there, so that the teacher knows where to work. So the entire technology-based language learning is to give the opportunity to the child and reports to the teacher that what, where, how should I work on. So that's what we say is technology in language learning, and that's what we have actually put into our product. So that's
thank you, Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. And it's a very interesting topic, and whatever you are telling also is very informative. But we are in shortage of time. Now we'll have the next round with very short answers. Uh, Next, we'll come to Amrita ma'am again. We know that, ma'am, with the introduction of technology, learning has become very flexible. People like Jaswinder sir, who has entered into the technology like this and had been working so hard in so many years. And we have seen Jaswinder sir also that they have done a lot of research, 50,000 hours research he did. They did, the company did, and also previous experience he had, have they introduced all this. So, what do you feel that we need when we say that we need smart teachers for smart students?
Okay. See, we've been all, as educators, we've been talking about student-centered learning since forever. It's been very, very long, but it's only been talk, lots of talk. And I think for the first time, the pandemic made it very, very obvious. The controls were genuinely in the hands of the learner. Students genuinely got the central control. You could not ensure discipline through any kind of army control or any kind of strictness, etc. The only way a child would learn would be if the child took ownership of their own learning. So the student voice, choice, student agency, student ownership genuinely got to the heart of the very process, and we had no choice in the matter.
Exactly.
So here, discipline had to be work like an orchestra. If the child wanted to, they would log in. If the child wanted to, they would switch on the camera, or they had the option. So it had to be in their hands. So I think the only way we could become smart is to genuinely transform lessons into absolutely student-centric. And it's a whole different pedagogy. We created these, we always had these crews, even when I think for my teachers, it was comparatively easier, because even in physical in-person school, we always had the crews, and there was a lot of the planning was already very student-centric. So the children were anyway, they were leading rather than the teachers, and teachers were facilitating the effort and co-learning with them. And I say co-learning over and again because, from sage on stage, we moved to facilitators of learning, and now actually co-learners. It's not even facilitators anymore. We are co-learners today. Every generation, it's not just now technology, all right, so it's different, but actually every generation is always smarter than the previous one. So we as teachers, or any teachers from any generation, always had this challenge of dealing with or trying to teach people who are smarter than yourself. And they are. The minute, and I think any teaching begins with the idea that by knowing this, we are moving from man to Superman. Change is ubiquitous, change is here to stay, and there will be no intelligence if there is no need for change. So change always propels us, and it's a good thing. The pandemic kind of increased the velocity for us. We were kind of lazily doing things. Pandemic for the first time transformed the idea of our classrooms to transcend space and time. So like Jaswinder sir was just now saying, the child wants to learn at 8 p.m. Here you are, you do it. You don't have to depend on when the teacher, when the school begins and when the session begins or ends, etc. It's just absolutely at your own pace in your own time. Only then real education happens. And yes, education eventually happens only in an environment, whether it is for language or actually any other subject. So even if you're teaching maybe science, the best way to go about it is to give them a few things and say, okay, let's create and let's figure out what we can do about it. We got to learn this concept. What the hell is it? Let's find out. Let's look at this equipment and see how we can figure this out. And time and again, this has been proven, just that teachers feel that time kam hota hai na class mein. Course coverage is the enemy of understanding, as Howard Gardner put it. So we are always bothered with, acha, syllabus khatam karana hai, to kaise karenge, right? But the thing is that there is time kam lagta hai isme. It's only about learning to do it that way. Because if you're explaining every portion bit by bit, you're obviously going to spend a whole lot of time. But if you really give it to them and let them explain, a lot more gets covered in less time, actually. It's just about that inhibition, that inertia to change always remains, and therefore we've always found it tough. The other is back in the day, I mean, I started with higher education long ago, my teaching career, and we used to teach at the MBA level, at the MassCom master's programs. We used to teach cross-cultural communication. And I'm talking 20 years ago, right? Now, I look at the children today, and every second day, there is a co-teaching session happening. One teacher's from France, one teacher's from India, one teacher's from another country, one teacher's from here. Teachers are planning those lessons together. Those kids are interacting, collaborating. It's genuinely become one world. And they are naturally acquiring those skills of what kind of cultures are there. And because, yes, so this guy is saying this or this, he still means yes, because this person is from China. Now, children are able to make out these little nuances of different cultures and their languages. They may not know the whole language of a different culture, but they know certain words. They picked it up because they are interacting with each other. The students from other parts of the world have picked up words from Hindi, from our children, and our children have picked up, because the pandemic meant more than 145 student exchanges. It suddenly was easy, at no cost, and everybody could do it. Once they did it, they started. So, and it was wonderful, the kind of learning that happens. So technology makes a whole lot possible, and it's here to stay. It is in our very bloodstream today, but it's also a demon. I mean, someone like me, I know we heard from Aarti ma'am that, you're reading on a Kindle, clicking on that word, you'll know so much more. I still love the dictionary. It's still under my pillow. And moti ho, patli ho, kaisi bhi, I also still want the reverse dictionary, and I want children to be able to use the reverse dictionary. There are advantages to actually looking for that word in that dictionary instead of getting it. When I write, I still use that physical Bloomsbury thesaurus, right? I still don't like the thesaurus that Microsoft or whichever system for that matter provides. But then there can be beautiful advantages, like immersive reader is amazing. I mean, it also ensures inclusion. So immersive readers being now extensively used by teachers, because so many children, I mean, teachers did find it very difficult to recreate every document for a child with dyslexia, but immersive reader makes it like, and a parent can also do, the child herself can do. So that's very critical. At the same time, in a reading program, earlier we used to give those physical books at different lexile levels, as Sir was talking about. Now, my children in, let's say, grade 5 or grade 2, all of them are, everybody is different. So their lexile levels also vary between them, and one finishes very quickly, other one takes a lot of time, another one like has already finished 3 levels and moved ahead. Now the program is online, so the readers are just all are available. You move from one, you move to the next, you move to the next. It's your sweet will. So and what you're learning, not just the teacher, but the technology is helping the teacher assess. It is difficult to, so we've always spoken about differentiated instruction and reaching out to the level of each child. But हर class में बच्चे तो वही 40-50 रहेंगे, right? 30 कर लोगे, बहुत कर लोगे. Let's be practical. But for a teacher, how do you really assess each one? Because there's no differentiation possible. You can't just ask children, okay, understood? Yes, and the chorus goes. It doesn't help. I mean, nobody ever says ki kuch samajh nahi aaya, right? There are very rare children who come up with, okay, I didn't understand that particular thing. Very, very rare and far between. So then the teacher has to figure out who got what, who stuck where, and why. And so, and she has to ensure the timing, the etc., etc. There's so much, it's so complicated. And yet, I mean, we expect the moon from our teachers. But that is where technology comes in. At the flash of a button, yes, they get to know, I mean, you get to know, okay, what was going wrong where. And if I look at the branching option of questions, which is possible now. So you give an MCQ, but you can design the MCQ with branching. So if the child picks option A, which you know is incorrect, it will be because the child has got a certain particular misconception. And therefore, you can have a branching question which helps the child get beyond that misconception. So technology can be really, really advantageous It's just that teachers have to be able to use it. It has to be part of it's a tool in our hands. Now, pen is also a tool in our hands. It's up to us. Sword is also a tool. Pen may be mightier than the sword, but eventually they're both tools. What we do with them, it's absolutely up to us. So it's a demon also. We all know addiction is very possible. Children have it, adults have it, all of us do. And the social media on it, there are a lot of distractors within technology which end up distracting all of us at any age group. Today, even a 2-year-old is very well distracted. So, which is why that demon needs to be tamed well. So the only smartness that you and I need, and only then will children develop, is the smartness to not be tamed by technology, but tame that demon to our advantage.
Absolutely right, ma'am. There are positive and negative trade-offs, everything with their technology and media and all. Children are handling their laptops or devices. Good things and bad things, everything are there, and the parents cannot monitor all the time. And otherwise, also, you are absolutely right. Is it understood? Is it clear? Yes, ma'am. A song goes on at the end of the period. Yes, ma'am. But at the very same time, when we were studying and what the children are studying right now, they are very smart. Even in Hindi medium schools also a low, low level. Look, we can't say that low fees schools also. Their children have become very smart now. The air is going on in the flow like that. It's not about the standard of the school or the level of the school. A child has become so smart. They know everything. They know every maximum students, because if they are not knowing, they're listening from others. They are listening because of this media also. It's a positive effect, maybe might less of this as we think as in the oldies, that the positive effects are less. We used to carry that big, thick Oxford dictionary every year, every day to the school, along with the books, carrying with that and finding out that how you have to find out the meaning of that. You have to take out P, then R, then O, then you will come up to the page where you have to find out. It's very interesting when you teach it to a child that how you have to find out. They won't see the dictionary even now. They don't want to see even that Google auntie is over there. We'll go over there and you'll find it out. What's the meaning of a particular word? So that is also a bad thing, because when we are looking into different things, there's a positivity and negativity at the very same time. Risk is much more when we are, giving these type of gadgets as well as internet facility to the kids. They may go to a wrong path also along with that. That is, I think, your feeling is along with that. Thank you so much, ma'am. Hema ma'am, we'll also like to know your views on the same topic, although we are running in shortage of time. Please, in short.
Only few things to add. Yes, your question was that do we need smart teachers to handle smart students? Yes. And if the teachers are not smart, then so many trainings, workshops are being conducted for them. That awareness is required. And now, initially, when this pandemic started, the teachers, many of the teachers, they were not knowing how to use technology. Gradually, they learned, and many teachers learned from their own kids at home. So, yes, if the teacher is not having those skills, that can be learned. If the teacher is focused, there is collaboration. Then if the teacher all with the time update himself or herself, then there are so many things through which that can be done. And I think if the love of learning is there, then it is not impossible. They can become smarter, and they can, as ma'am said, co-learning. Yes. And I think with a lot of training and practice, they will become smart. And this is the need of the hour also. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Jyoti ma'am will come up to you. We know that every child is born with different ability and different mental level, and that goes with the language learning also. So what do you feel about this?
I tell you one thing, I'm enjoying this conversation to fullest. The most important thing which I feel and what I have understood is change is permanent. And I think every individual, children of any age group, if they are ready to brace that change, they are the winners. The world is changing very fast, and so as our children, and we also need to do the same. Anything which is shared with the students, a child psychology takes it in different way. In a class of 40, rightly said by Amrita ma'am, a teacher is there communicating, sharing the contents, but what happens then? Every individual, every child sitting in that class takes it in a different manner. Some children are very, very sincerely trying to understand and listen. Some of the children are like, tuition mein kar lenge. And some of the children are like, ye nahi karna hai, it's so boring. And some of the children are like, dekha jayega. So what is happening that it has become very important for a teacher to understand the psychology of their class, not student, class. The conversation in the class has to be so interesting. And I personally feel that a teacher is a magician. Teacher is the one who has to play magic in the class so that the teacher is able to address to the needs of all the students sitting in their class. And that is possible only if we are well prepared, we understand that what the children wants from us and how we can be closer to them. And more closer we are, more we'll understand about them, and our deliverance will change accordingly. So it is very important that we understand, we connect, we communicate, and we are able to, read their psychology, understand their mind, and then share with them the information in such a manner which they want to listen, which they want to understand. Technology, rightly said by all, that yes, Amrita ma'am, definitely it's a demon mode nowadays, because parents come to the school with a complaint that my child is attending the class, but it's on mute and the video is off. My child is sitting, enjoying breakfast or playing games. So it's very important that along with all whatever we have been discussing till now, we need to understand that responsibility again has become a very, very important term, that for every individual child, linguistic love is absolutely fine. The freedom, again, you rightly said that responsibility and freedom goes hand in hand. So we need to inculcate the value of responsibility. A child need to understand that whatever is being presented before you is for your benefit, and generation gap is definitely making these things a little more difficult. I mean, long back, 10 years used to be a generation gap, then became 5 years generation gap. And nowadays, what is happening? If you have two children at home with an age difference of 2 years, they are again two different generations. Their thoughts are different. For us, we never used the word terminology, chill. Chill mom, chill dad. And chill has become so common for everything. We can today also, we cannot afford to call our parents, hi mom, hi dad. We can't do that. And our children, for them, it's okay, it's cool. So the language, linguistic skills, along with responsible use of language on different platforms and different arenas of your life, wherever you are, at home, in school, working, doing whatever, it becomes very important that we try to help our children to make full use of their skills, linguistic skills, the command over the language, what they have, to use it very, very responsibly, and how they can enhance it with a joy. See, it's very important. If we are not enjoying anything, we can never be good at that. We can never be good at that. So it's very important that we need to enjoy whatever is being presented before us, to learn and understand, to make us more capable. And then the world is beautiful,
Absolutely
very
right.
colorful,
Absolutely right, ma'am.
vibrant, for the teacher, for principal, and for the children, and for the parents. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Absolutely right. And our parents are the last generation which had dealt
Yes.
with us till now. We cannot say chill, chill, papa, chill, mama, or whatever words they use. Our children use with us. That was the last generation. If we will try with this with our kids, you see, they'll throw us out. They'll throw us out for sure. That era has ended now. That was the last generation. Now, see, we have suffered that from our parents also, and we are suffering with our kids also. That pressure from the kids also. Both the sides we are, facing that. I hope everybody will agree with me.
But there's
Thank
one
you so much.
answer to that: chill. Don't
Chill.
worry.
We are chill. We don't have any other option, sir. We have to chill. We have to chill for sure. Thank you so much,
There are
ma'am.
many new versions of chill now.
Okay.
I am learning one every single day from my students.
You're right.
The
You're
chill
right.
is old. That was used by millennials.
Yes.
Now
yes.
there are many more new versions.
Okay. So you want to tell few of them. Name
Okay,
few of them. Yeah.
I keep getting this from my son. OPOG. I still haven't understood the full form, but the
Okay.
chill's new way is POG.
POG. That's great. I'll
Okay,
also try to find out after the
it
session.
doesn't have a full form. I just heard.
Okay. That's great. So this is a new learning we are getting from our kids also, at home also and in the school also. Thank you so much, ma'am. Viva ma'am, will come up to you. Please let us your views also for the for this language learning at different levels.
Okay, so first of all, I would say that each and every child is born with a different potential and a different blessing. And comparing any two children would be a heinous blunder. We should not be doing it. Even in a family, when they're siblings, two children are different. Even twins who are born, they're also different. So when it comes to learning of language, see, we are saying that children are changing. So if they are smart, we have to be smarter. If they are smarter, we have to be smartest. So there are a lot of different techniques that can be used, and some of them have been mentioned by Jyoti ma'am as well. When we are dealing with children, instead of we teaching them, we were just discussing in the beginning, we could have peer tutoring. Instead of the teacher reading and just having the lecture method, we could involve them into various activities. We could make groups of children. The technology has empowered us so much now. Groups of children reading. If children are reading, one is just summarizing, one is just asking a question, one is answering, one is saying the summary. You will see that the complete class is interactive. Now, they may be children who have their own pace of learning. So instead of identifying them and telling them that, you can't do it and snub them, I think it's very important that we first identify our learner. Because it's not that children can't learn, it's that we cannot teach them. So there could be some who could learn linguistics through music. There could be some who could do it, by a naturalistic way. There could be some who would understand linguistics through logic. So we have to cater, to their multiple intelligence, and then we need to go ahead and teach them. Now, second thing, like Jaswinder sir also said, the apps that he's creating. So adaptive learning is very important. See, we people also use our mobile phones. While using our mobile phones, we are doing something, we have something else in mind, but we go on to do something. There's so many times doing something important, have gone to that. There is a quiz which is going on, there are words and we keep answering one level. Acha, isko karke I'll leave it. Dusra level, nahi, isko karke I'll leave it. And ultimately, I would see half an hour I was playing that quiz, right? The time that I've designated, the family time that we have designated, we still want to play that. So these things are very interesting. They challenge us. There is nobody to judge us. We are our own judge. We are learning at our own pace. So I think it's we who have to become smarter, give children that kind of exposure that they're looking forward to. And definitely children who are finding it a little, difficult to learn language will also start coping up. So our skills have to be honed to teach them. That's what I would just sum it up.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Absolutely right. We agree with you. Thank you so much, Viva ma'am. We'll come up to Aarti ma'am now. From past few years, and especially during this pandemic period, teaching students, especially during the first year when the pandemic started, through online mode, it had become a challenge. How has technology removed this barrier?
Well, again, we have come back to technology, and I am personally in favor of technology for so many things. especially here at our end where internet bandwidth is not very big, very high, and you find that students are from rural area and they are finding it difficult to attend online classes and with all these barriers. But still, I would say, thanks to all these technology, we were able to reach out to every single child either way, either through online learning or through creating videos and sending it through WhatsApp, creating worksheets and all those things. And plus, we had so many help in the form of the YouTube videos and the other apps which has come up. This technology has really helped. There is a plethora of information, I believe, now for the students. For everything, they depend on now technology, and they take help of it. Yes, when Amrita ma'am says that still she looks for dictionary or for the book and all, definitely it's also true. But when we talk about this generation, it is very difficult for us to make them understand the importance of all these things, because for them, and it's really a challenge for a teacher also to, because it's entirely in the hand of the child, whether he wants to switch on his camera, whether he wants to switch on the mic and participate. And it becomes so difficult for us teachers who have been teaching for all these years to, it's sometimes it's like teaching to a wall when none of the students have switched on their camera. So it becomes very difficult to connect. But definitely, to some extent, technology has helped when we integrate some quizzes in between, when we divide them into groups and then they go and discuss and then they come up. And there are so many other things which we can integrate in a classroom, and thus we can sustain the interest of the child. Because if a teacher has to sustain the interest of the child, he or he has to add so many things to the classroom. And otherwise, what happens is you have all these things available on YouTube, Byju's, and all the other apps. Everything is available. Why would a child come back to you for a class? Earlier, he was bound to come to school. Now, a child does not want to come to school and doesn't even want to attend the online class. So we have to, a teacher has to learn technology and take it as a challenge to learn it, and then integrate it in the online classes in such a way that it becomes a gaming thing for a child to attend this online class. And to some extent, the teachers have been able to do it. Hats off to all these teachers who learned so fast. So that's what my take on this.
Absolutely right, ma'am. Yes, I second with your thought. Because yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Chandhok sir, I was just going to add on to this, like Aarti ma'am said. So what was happening that children used to, log off a little early. So what we did, we've started that in towards the end, there's an exit ticket that's going to be there, and that's in the form of technology. So there's going to be a quiz and a game. Now
Yes,
children are looking forward to this, ki end hone se pehle I have to do this. So the double benefit that we've got from this exit ticket in gamification, is that one, we know that whether the child has learned or not, and secondly, they stay till the end. And they are enthusiastically waiting that now ma'am is going to give us something which is going to help us. So technology has been actually, integration is very, very important at this point of time.
Absolutely. I agree with you, ma'am.
We have added a surprise element. What our teachers have done, they've added a surprise element. For every online class, they might show a video or a storytelling session or a quiz, but they don't tell. It's not, I mean, you don't have a fixed time for it. It could be any time. So the child is bound to be in the entire class, and that helps us a lot for the sustaining the interest. And to be very honest, in the area where we live, other schools where they were struggling, we had almost 80% online attendance. So that was a big
That's
thing.
great.
I mean, I would just say that there was a child who comes from a smallest village, and there was very less internet bandwidth. But the child, climbed the tree to attend the class. Can you believe it?
Oh God,
you have to make it interesting.
Awesome, really awesome. Yeah.
He climbed a tree. I mean, I was so shocked. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Ma'am, I get signals only here." And he climbed the tree to attend the class. So definitely this technology integration.
That's the idea, Sarji.
Yeah.
That's the idea, Sarji, right?
That's the idea.
And we have seen also that children, they join the link and they switch off their camera and they move around the home. Why? Because they feel that the teachers, that topic or whatever she's teaching is not interesting. How will you do that? I'll go into the YouTube and we can find out all the topics over there. I'll do it from another teacher who is in the YouTube. So here the teacher has to become smarter. If they are not knowing, if they are oldies, they have to switch over to the technology. They should go up with these classes and see how these teachers are making it interesting. So this is what we can do. Otherwise, it will happen that attendance, we won't get good attendance, as most of the schools are facing this. Online classes, students are not taking online classes. They are opening they're joining, but they are switching off their camera and they're moving out, moving throughout the home, and they're not learning. And the parents are complaining, classes are not going on. Why should we pay the fees?
Absolutely.
They fool the parents also. That is also there.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Aarti ma'am. A very interesting topic we have, and we can talk much more about that. But we have shortage of time again. Jaswinder sir, you have heard to all the eminent guests, because you're another other part of the industry, and so many things are there that, like, we came to know that all of the five fingers, none of the two fingers are equal. The students have different mental levels. These things we have talked about. Teachers have to become smarter, and pandemic, when it is going on offline or online classes, everything is going on over there. How does this system helps in all these three things at least?
Thank you. Good question. But before that, I would like to add on to what all the eminent speakers have, talked about. One way of getting the interest back is to get the flipped classroom concept into our schools. If a child has done something and if he gets a chance to come and speak in front of everybody to show off what he's done, is something that will bring that charm, that spark that is required. See, we are technology migrants, they're technology residents. They were born with a mobile with them. Yeah. So for them, getting any information is like a snap. But the flip side is that when they try to get 10 lines on a topic, they get 10,000 lines. That's where they go to find out, they work on it, and they come up with something. And then what we do is we tell them to present yourself. So they not only acquire, research skills, they acquire presentation skills, which are very, very important in today's day, which is very important. Okay. So I would say that is something that can be done. But coming on to your question is, how was it made possible during the pandemic time, right? And so you see what happened is, pandemic suddenly happened. Nobody was ready. We were not ready. Teachers were not ready. So the way teachers quickly, adapted to using mobile phones and, using whatnot we have seen on the internet, and they've actually made it possible. Hats off to them. So what we did was, being in technology, we were always with internet. So we were able to, convert all our stuff into an online stuff. So what we've done is we've understood now. See, people, MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, has been talking about blended teaching, blended learning since so many years. It says only e-learning will not work, only classroom learning will not work. But you will have to understand that blended learning will work. Now, blend is in two ways. Okay. So which are these two ways? There's one which is, there's a teacher teaching and there's a student practicing. So teacher teaching and the student using technology. Second, the teacher teaching in the school and the student practicing at home. So there's a blend with teaching happening in school and at home, using teachers and using technology. So what we did was we actually worked on this and we made it possible that what you want to do, you can use it anywhere. See, please understand, this pandemic is there to tell us what the future is like, right? This is one COVID-19. There may be 20, 30, 40, God knows where it's going to end. So we need to be ready and we need to embrace blended learning, because learning can never stop. And if learning stops, mankind will stop. If learning stops, God knows what's going to happen with everybody. So what we did was we actually created that entire ecosystem into a blended model that use it anywhere, because India happens to have the cheapest internet in the world, right? And internet almost everywhere. So what needs to be done is to adopt and to understand and to embrace and to accept what is happening. None of us can change it. It is in nature against us. So we'll need to use technology to be able to use the blend of learning, because learning has to happen. Teachers, which we thought would be the most difficult part, have adopted to this very, very smoothly. So what we've done as a company, we've created this product which works even at a 3G speed, not even 4G speed. So use technology, create stuff, using technology which will be accessible by everybody, whatever kind of bandwidth and whatever kind of equipment. That's one thing. Second is create stuff interesting enough for the students to use it. Ma'am said gamification. That's very important. Why would a child want to stick to a device and work on some subject when he's got a game that he can play? Bring game to him, because this device can convert anything into gaming. So the future is gaming. The future is challenging. The future is accessibility, and the future is adaptability. And all this is what we've done. We've actually put it into a box and we created the blended teaching thing. So that's what we've done. And I think that's what's going to happen. Any subject, it's not just about.
So how many subjects do you have?
So we have English as main. We've got Hindi. We've got Sanskrit. French coming up by around March end or April. And then next year we'll come up with Spanish. So what we've done is we've also coming up with Gujarati, Punjabi, Marathi, Tamil, and Telugu, and Bengali, of course. So because NEP 2020 requires, and understand, it is good that a child, gets his fundamentals clear with his own mother tongue, and then he also acquires the other languages. So I'm in for what the government is saying, that in the early years, let the main two subjects, math and science, be taught in the language that they understand. They should not have the word problem, which one of the speakers said, if a child doesn't understand the question, how is he going to answer, even if he knows the answer? So that can be in any language. You should have that. But one important thing, kids can acquire multiple languages. And kids will become smarter, more human if they acquire multiple languages. So yes, more the language, the better. So since we've mastered the way how we can create new languages, so every year we'll be adding 2 more languages. One would be Indian, one would be foreign language. So that's what we're working on.
Thank you so much, sir. And you are doing a wonderful thing for the education community here, at least in India. All the best to you, and
thank you, sir.
That you come up with much more languages, and you reach from 3,000, you reach to 30,000 plus schools. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot to all of you, Vibha ma'am, Hima ma'am, Amrita ma'am, Jyoti ma'am, Jaswinta sir, Aarti ma'am, for your precious time you have taken out for us. And it was a very interactive and very learning session, I feel so. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chandhok sir. In spite of your ill health, you've been really doing it, pulling it up very nicely.
Pleasure is mine, ma'am. Pleasure is mine.
Take care.
Thank you.
And a very good evening to everyone. Namaskar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.